On election night in Arizona, there's a lot of really good news that happened for the state, but there were also bad news stories coming out of the state. One of them was ballot shortages. Ballot shortages? What's that supposed to be about? In Pinal County in Arizona, as a result, the elections director, David Frisk, was fired. Hold on. So you can't print enough ballots in America? What's going on in this county? And how does it not happen again? Joining us now to discuss what is taking place and to ensure elections are secure. In November, Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb. Mark, thank you so much for being on the program. We saw your video right afterwards, but we would love to check in. We're doing a special on Arizona for this show, and so we want to check in and see, because this bothered a lot of people. Never heard of that before. Ballot shortages. What happened?
Yeah, Benny, thanks for having me on. Well, it bothered us, too. And we're still trying to figure out what happened, whether it was just really lack of competence on doing the job, or whether there was something else involved in it. That's what's being looked at right now. Whatever it was not good for the candidates and not great for the people that showed up to vote. And we had a lot of angry people here in this county. And in a day and age when mistrust, a lack of trust exists amongst the voters and government, we really dropped the ball. And so we're doing the best we can to fix that now. One of the guys who came to the board meeting the next day had the best line. He says, "Paper is cheaper than trust." And we didn't print enough ballots, or I say we, I include us in the county, but this was really the elections department, and they're doing what they can to remedy it.
So we saw your video on social media. You sort of calmed the waters and said, we're looking into this. I think that's what a lot of people want to know, is that there's a law enforcement officer that sees this as unacceptable.
Absolutely. We've seen it as unacceptable, and we've been working with the county attorney. Whether it arises to criminal, that's what we're looking at. So I hope that the people will trust that this is an ongoing investigation or ongoing, investigation. It hasn't risen to criminal yet, I can tell you that. But we are looking into it.
Mm-hmm. So there was also a mail-in voting situation where 60,000 plus odd votes got sent to the wrong place. Am I correct on that?
No, not exactly, Benny. What happened was they issued the ballots. The same election director issued the ballots, and the ballots were either containing city government elections that they weren't even part of that city. It also was lacking a lot of the cities. I think there was probably 6 or 7 cities that didn't even have those candidates on the ballot. So they had to issue an addendum ballot, and it affected 63,000 people in the county. So we had that major problem 3 weeks before, only to show up on voting day and not have enough ballots for the people. And clearly that was enough to finally be the demise of the elections director, and he was terminated. But yeah, we had those 2 issues, major issues, frankly. And it was embarrassing. As somebody who's been pushing for election integrity, I'm trying to do the best I can to give people back the confidence. And in my own county, the wheels fell off twice.
Wow. I mean, it shows the uphill struggle to secure our elections. And quite frankly, I do have to give you compliments, because at the very least, you're acknowledging it. You're firing people who are inept and unqualified for these positions and trying to make it right. And I think what a lot of the base wants to see is a law enforcement arm saying this is unacceptable. Now, I'm broadcasting out of the state of Florida right now, and that's one of the big things that happened recently in our last legislature is they opened up an entire department to look into voter fraud. Could this happen in Arizona?
Well, I think it should. We're over here. I'm trying to push for election integrity, which shouldn't be a partisan issue. I think both Democrats and Republicans should want election integrity. We should want to know that we have safe and secure elections. But last week at the board meeting, I had probably 8 to 10 Democrats show up and absolutely blast me because I believe in the big lie, or I believe that in whatever narrative they're trying to spin. And it clearly shows that these folks don't care about election integrity. They're happy that their guy's in power. And right now they should care more than ever, because this guy in office, Joe Biden, and his administration is absolutely destroying America and freedom. And they're turning this into a country that we just don't recognize. And so I would think that they would want election integrity. It shouldn't matter about your party, but unfortunately, it does matter to them, and they have taken exception with me on it. But you know what? That's not going to stop me from continuing to push for election integrity.
Sheriff, I know that we booked you to talk election integrity and what happened on election day, but we must talk about this raid at MarALago. A final question here. As somebody who's probably served search warrants before, somebody who's probably done this type of work, when you're watching the FBI tell Trump's lawyers that they can't be on the property, they won't display the warrant, you have this shady Epstein judge who's giving these warrants out. Can you give me sort of your professional law enforcement take on what the hell is going on in MarALago right now with the FBI?
Yeah, Benny, I think me, along with a lot of other Americans, are deeply concerned with what we see. I wish I could speak to it intelligently to the point where I know all the facts about it. I don't, but I think there's enough questions, not just from me and other law enforcement officials, but from the American people. We want to know, what probable cause did you have? And why did you issue that, or why did you show up at MarALago? Because it looks like it's a political ploy. It looks like they're trying to damage President Trump and those candidates that he supported all across this country. And it looks like the FBI is being used to do that. So I would hope that they would be very, very transparent as to why and what probable cause they had, and to ensure the American people that this was a just search warrant. Look, search warrants are allowed within the law. That is a constitutional provision. But we've got to make sure that they're done appropriately, that there is probable cause, and that search warrants and judges, and especially the FBI, are not being used as political tools for an administration that appears to be reaching further and further into the American people's rights and freedoms every day. And I think I, along with all the other Americans across this country, share some deep concerns as to what I saw that day. And my heart goes out to President Trump and his family. These are people who serve this country, who put their reputations and their families on the line. To be treated like criminals is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it is. I think it is awakened the Leviathan, and I think people are going to really be calling out for more just law enforcement officials, and you're one of them. So thank you, Sheriff, for being on the program.
Thank you, Benny. Thank you for your voice too. God bless.
God bless you. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, it is refreshing, by the way.